Area, good morning, good night, and yes, just take the greeting from anywhere you are listening to us. My name is Joseph Folorisho, and this is Security, Safety, and the People's Right on VOP 90.3 FM. And today we'll be traveling to US. We have one of our very, very respected Nigeria that will be talking to us. Is a security expert, and he has done a lot of wonderful thing in the US. And these are some of the news that they will not be telling us. To be telling what some of the big media houses in quotes come up with when there are issues that are not very, very good about some of our wonderful brothers and sisters. They push all of them to every corner, but we still see a lot of Nigerians that are doing very, very great. And in outside this show, US, Canada, UK, Australia, South Africa, and the rest of them. So today we'll be joining Mr. Chuks Eleanor, who is not a new person to us in the studio here on our show, but before he joined us through the internet or virtually, I have my you could know him too. I have Jeremiah Ngwe with us in the studio, and he just came to come and tell us thank you, and for what you have VOP family have done so far from the first time you interfere with us. It has been a very big family.
Yeah.
And before we travel to US, let's hear your thank you.
Thank you very much, first and foremost, VOP family, and every one of you that heard my voice on the air, and I made a great contribution, a support for our brothers in Kirikiri. I'm here today to say I'm very grateful for being a support to humanity, and as well, this coming Saturday, I'll also be going there or pay them a Christmas visit, if not for the last of the year. So I'll be going there. So I still wish that you support. I still wish your support. Yesterday I was there. Yesterday. I saw many people. Some their bodies are full of rashes and like that. And when that comes like that, things like antiseptics are needed. Although there are medical drugs, people supported in my position. I'll be taking them there with clothes and other things. But as it stands now, we need toiletries, antiseptic, that will kill soap, anything that can cure skin disease. I think we need it now.
Okay, Mr. Jeremiah Ngbe is a person. He has been with us. He was in Kirikiri for 12. Is it 12 years or 11 years ago?
12 years.
12 years and 7 months. Until a very, very respected, a kind, wonderful governor, the governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, grant him pardon sometime this year. If not, Jeremiah will still be in Kirikiri till 2027, right? 2027, and that's the reason he said, okay, he have seen it there, and it's okay. Our brothers and sisters. Some are still awaiting trials, right? Some are awaiting trials, some have been convicted. Those that are awaiting trial, they are still innocent, but the situation is not treating them as innocent.
Yeah.
You know the way we do in Nigeria, the punishment it will be so much that at the end of the day, you overserve your punishment. And one thing I love in Oga Jeremiah is he still visit them and put some of their challenges in the front burner, and is equally using opportunity to thank everyone that have said, you know what, when I may not be able to visit them at Kirikiri prison, but you know what, my resources will help me to visit. Let's appreciate everyone. Nigeria is a wonderful place. We love ourselves. Only sometimes government, some individual will just bring something, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, or Christian or Muslim, one thing or the other, in order to divide us. But God passed every one of them.
Sure.
So your visit before we join I guess your visit, there are some, although if you look at what come up now. I think that boy that the Osun State governor is saying that they should look into his case now.
Yeah.
I think he should be in Kirikiri or be Ikoyi prison.
I think he should be Ikoyi.
No, it should be in Kirikiri prison. It should be in Kirikiri. This is a person that steal fowl and egg, and he have to die, but they have to kill. The sentence was to kill him.
Yeah.
And I was saying in another conversation today that for me, now that Osun State is saying that the Ministry of Justice Osun State, you look into the matter through the DPP and the rest of them. I want to appeal to, if you know someone that knows someone that know Osun State governor, please, this is Joseph Candid appeal, is please let us find out let us find and name the IPO of that case. Let's find out. Let's know his name. Let us find out the name of the DPO of that very case. Let us only find out the name of the magistrate. Because when you say stealing of fowl and egg, it become like death. They have to kill the person. It depends on what one thing some of our wonderful IPO have been doing now. What I mean by IPO is the police,
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Light Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and pressure for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things and makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
One hit at a time, the best music, the best radio. Voice of the People 90.3 FM, VOP 90.3 FM.
Bonam! Ole! Kidnapper! Na dem o, he wan use person do money, kill am!
Sit tire for here, put am for him neck, burn am, yes! Dem no go find better work do, na yahoo dem go dey do, burn am! Stop!
Dat person wey you wan born, if it dey innocent, no go carry person blood put for your head. Jungle justice no good at all. Stop am.
You wey light the fire, you no get heart. Say no to jungle justice.
You uncle wey follow for the crowd dey look wey dem dey born person. You no stop dem. E dey do you like film abi? Your hand sef no clean o. You fit enter gbege. Stop the lynching. Stop jungle justice.
Under the criminal law for Lagos State, person wey start jungle justice, those wey support am and those wey just sit down look, all of them fit rot for jail. My name na Benjamin Hundeyin, Lagos State Police talk person. Stop jungle justice.
This message now from Lagos State Police Command
and VOP 90.3 FM. oga politician, this money wey you carry come your constituency come dey distribute anyhow. No be say dem say make you distribute am, na to do community work. Wetin happen? If you no fit do the work wey dem ask you to use the money do, return the money to government treasure. We need our money. Make people no call you ole o. If you do like ole, dem go call you ole.
Thank you for staying to VOP 90.3 FM. I remain Joseph Olorunso, and this is Security, Safety, and the People's Right. Your own show. I still have Mr. Ngbenyi with us. We are still waiting for our brother from US. He's going to join us very, very soon. Let's first of all equally thank His Excellency the Governor of Osun State. Governor Adeleke, Ademola Adeleke, you are a wonderful person, because he would have just seen that thing and equally ignore it. But for him saying that he's giving an instruction to the Commissioner for Justice of Osun State and the DPP and let's say the Ministry of Justice in Osun State to see what they can do to get that guy out of that prison is a welcome development, and we continue to pray that this opportunity to want to appeal to governors and their wives should kindly find a way to visit some of the correctional center in Nigeria and listen to some of the cases. And I will continue to say it here that we need serious profiling of everybody in the correctional center. You will be shocked. You'll be shocked what you are going to find out. We're on the studio here. Someone called up from Bariga. Yes, that when he was at this other prison, Badagry prison, his original name was the IPO give him another name of birth, and by changing his name, and I believe his family were thinking that the guy don't lost, but not knowing that the man, their brothers, was in Badagry prison until, as God will have it, they have to now look for the name that he's used, the name that the officer gave him there as his new baptismal name or new name before that guy was able to get freedom from Badagry prison. We show to us again what some people were saying. And when I listened to Madam Kemi from United Kingdom, for me, government did not need to reply. They don't need to be facing her squarely. Let's look inward and say, okay, yes, we're getting some of this information. We are making effort to bring a lot of correction to some of our wonderful, gallant, beautiful, unique police officers who continue to remain our very wonderful friend. Oga Ngbenyi.
Yeah. So are many of those cases right there in the correctional facilities. While I was there, I remembered we were just two, I call them casemate because it was the same charges. What was holding them? It was just 5,000 were holding two people.
5,000.
5,000. When I paid the money in the morning, I think in the evening, they came, they called them and they released them out. One of the issue that gathered destinies of people, our brothers, our citizens in correctional facility, that the fundamental problem is wrong charges. You raid somebody, give the person, charge the person armed robbery, they raid somebody, charge the person for murder and all that. I continue to say the shortcut to decongest the correction or the police to get things right is that let the federal government leave the prisons or the correctional facility for state governors to manage it, and that will do a great help. It will also save the government money and the governors. That is when they will call the police in their jurisdiction, call them to caution, And cases that are not supposed to go to correctional facility should not go there. They raid people, give them wrong charges, even when they report, even when the matter officially reported. At the end of the day, they end up give the person wrong charges. Like my case, it was a car theft. But what did they charge me? Conspiracy to commit armed robbery. I'm not sure they gone before, not handle a gun before. Even when I come from a place where a gun is popular, but all the years I spent is as a result of wrong charges. That is what is bringing or gathering people who are supposed to be useful to their families or the society at large in correctional facilities. So
well, that was a baptism of your offense. The police officer baptized your offense because they feel that what if they charge you that one, you can easily walk out. Joining us from the United States of America is no other person than our very, very respected and wonderful brother who is doing very, very great there in USA. Is one of the, in his profile, one thing I love so much was that community organizer. Because we need a person who can galvanize, who can push people together. Because Nigeria actually need him now to come and help us, because we are talking of 2027. But before you know it's happening, the story can even be the same thing, whereby election will come, we collect agege bread / maybe 500 naira, it depends on your status. If not, just a jollof rice, and with I don't know if they will put chicken now. Then you are there. You make another 4 years decision again. Let me add chief to his name, because he's talking to us in Nigeria. Nigeria will love title. Is Chuk Eleanor is a public, is a professional. Yeah, is a public. Choose Eleanor is a public speaker and equally a community organizer. Joining us from US, and equally I learned a lot of things from him. He's a security expert, and that is the reason we want to have an interaction with him today. Today we want to know the power, the responsibility of a sovereign state. When you say Nigeria is a sovereign state, what are those responsibilities? How do you protect your citizen? And Ogachus, I know you might have read the news in Nigeria that from April till this year, with the statistic in Nigeria, that the ransom that were paid is excess of 2 trillion naira. Good, is it good afternoon or good? In Nigeria we say good afternoon.
Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly. Very clear.
Okay, good. So it's early morning here. So good morning and good afternoon to you guys in Nigeria and to those elsewhere around the world. Thanks for inviting me and thanks for having me. No, I have not heard that news, but paying that much money in ransom that is, I think that's criminal. But who is collecting the money to be paid? Who is being paid? And how can they be paid and not be prosecuted? So I think there's a lot of issues there. But we can talk further. But that's criminal. I don't believe you should be paying.
Okay, let me stay with you there. Assuming it is US, that the story come out and say that is government official, the people in government that are in charge of our statistics. If they come out with that record in US, that unofficially, that is people that have been paying ransom to for the freedom of their loved one, total about over 2 trillion naira, 2 trillion Nigerian naira. What will the White House be doing at this very point in time? Or the security agency will be doing at this very point in time?
Yeah, so the U.S. is broken up into various security apparatus, right? The government officials usually don't get involved in those types of things. There are occasions when ransoms are paid, for real. That is usually done through the CIA. But even where ransoms are paid, the the entity that is receiving that ransom will eventually get prosecuted. And no ransom is generally paid inside the country. The only time ransoms are paid are usually when people are captured in the Middle East, or sometimes people are captured in the Far East, like North Korea. So, but inside the United States, it's actually unheard of for anybody, individual or government, to pay ransom.
And but it's happening in our own dear country now. And for me, I was having a conversation with someone today. I say, if I'm the IGP, I think I will cancel every other engagement and say, do you know what? I and my team are in charge of internal security of Nigeria. For this report, we want to make sure that say this should be the last that will happen in this our country, which is a sovereign state. But the story is different anyway. The IGP and the police, all the security policing agency, as usual, we promise that we're on top of we're on top of the issue.
Yeah. So the challenge Nigeria has had, and the challenge Nigeria has always had, is not segregating its security structure. I don't believe that the IGP should be doing everything, right? In national security, there are 5 components. There is one of the components is preventing terrorism. The other is to secure the border, to enforce immigration, to protect cybersecurity, and of course, to take care of other types of natural disaster. So when you look at those 5 pillars, you can see that there is no way the Nigerian police will be the ones doing all of these things. Preventing terrorism is not a police task. Enforcing immigration is also not a police task. So there are things that Nigeria is not doing, and I'm not sure why the IGP is the one saddled with this task. And usually, if you give one system that job, they may fail because it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Also, the auditing system, right? Who is policing the police? Who investigates the police? Because if you are paying this much money in ransom, then we need to know who you're paying it. Are you telling me that this is going to so many? In other words, the people receiving this ransom, are they so many that it has to be so much? I can guarantee you that there's not more than 5 or maybe 6 entities that are collecting that money. So for that money to be that high, there needs to be some type of probe into that process.
Do you think we can equally follow the money too? That if any time that someone want to, God forbid, if any family member is being kidnapped and they want to pay the ransom, police or bank or an agency actually push the narrative whereby those currency are being marked to now see, so that when they are in circulation, you started tracing them through those money. Because it's a bit very, it's sometimes difficult to believe that over 2 trillion and nobody is able to say, okay, we can track some of those currency.
Yeah, so technology has put us in a situation now where money can actually be tracked. The challenge here becomes between the person paying the money, or rather between the entity paying the money and the entity receiving the money. The question becomes, are they digitally aware? But the money can certainly be tracked, and that's what I meant by somebody needs to probe it. But if the government truly wants to get to the bottom of it, it can be probed.
Okay, Mr. Chu, let's look at issue of sovereignty. Nigeria is a sovereign is a sovereign state, a sovereign country, and let me take you to East. Although we are still trying to manage it now, sometimes some Mondays are always where some individual declare that everybody should sit at home. Why the governors, other government agencies will tell people to move about. But the citizen, sometimes they decide to be on the safe side, sit at home. On Monday, particularly in the east, then going to some other part of Nigeria, you see some people who are kidnapping people, are engaging in banditry, and it's as if they are above the law, and we have security agency around all these places. So what actually defines all the characteristics of a sovereign state when you see this kind of scenario?
Well, so certainly Nigeria is a sovereign state, and of course, by definition, sovereignty is the concept that a state has supreme authority to govern itself and to make decisions around its own borders and for its own people. So that's what sovereignty totally means. But there are challenges in doing those things. A lot of times when people talk about sovereignty, the first thought is that there is about foreign intervention. But in this case, in Nigeria, what you described is not a situation with foreign intervention. What you're describing is something about internal conflict. So the situation in the part of Nigeria where people sit at home, not sure why government has not looked into why people are sitting at home. If the government is paying ransom and government knows how to reach the people collecting the ransom, then the question is there a reason the government has not been able to sit down with those that are already orchestrating or engaging in these sit-at-home orders?
Okay, but let's now look at what would be your, if you have opportunity to sit one-on-one with the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria have serious security challenge. Issue of data is a different thing entirely, and I'll be saying in many places, if I have opportunity to talk, that I don't know what any system can do without data. As I'm talking to you now, since 2006, that was the last official census Nigeria have conducted, and you need data for you to plan, especially in terms of security. What do you think the government should be doing? But what is dominating many things now is tax reform, and even the tax reform, you don't know the population of. If you have the number, you will be able to say, okay, this is the by the time we are through with this tax reform, this is the number of people who are eligible to pay tax, and this is how much we will be getting. But nobody is concerned about issue of the data of Nigeria for us to see how we can get it as close to accurate.
Very, very true. So without data, not having data is the same thing as flying in the night with no lights, right? So you're groping in the darkness and you're not able to actually see what direction that you're headed. So data is very, very critical. Yes, I believe Nigeria has some agencies that are supposed to keep certain levels of data, but when it comes to counting, I think there is a deliberate intent by the states and by the government, federal government, not to count people. And there are many reasons why they don't want to truly count the number of Nigerians. But the easiest way to do it, and which is how it is done here in the United States, is to have the population of the state tied to the revenue of the state. So, for example, the states that are getting revenue allocations, if you let them know that the revenue allocation can only be given if they can prove that they have this many people, and of course, in reverse, if they come up and say we have this many people, that many people also has to now be counterbalanced by the volume of tax revenue that is being generated. So when you look at it, it becomes cyclical. The state is getting money. In exchange for the money, the state is accounting for how many people are in the state. But in return, the state is also now showing that this many people are paying taxes. So when you have that balance, or it's a check and balance, then the state will now be forced not to forge the numbers, because if you say, for instance, you have 1 million people in one state, then that 1 million people will not be used to determine your allocation. But again, that 1 million people will not be used to derive the amount of taxes that state owes to the federal purse. So in such a situation, the state will be forced to be honest. So Nigeria is not counting because there is no penalty for not counting. There is no consequence for hiding your population. Rather, there are states in Nigeria that are collecting allocation but contributing absolutely nothing. So, and they have no reason to count their people.
So what is the implication of how do we, because it has its own implication. So how do we address it? Because if I have opportunity to say, okay, Nigeria say, okay, Joseph, we want to make you President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, I will have one agenda that even though they are going to say now 1 year or 1 month I will spend, or 4 years, that agenda is going to be, I want to see how we can get our population close to accurate. Or if I have opportunity to say, okay, go and go to your state and be a governor of Edo State, I won't mind federal government. I will find a way to say, okay, if I have to be a governor of this state, before I do any budget, I want to get the population of the people in my state. Why are we not having people who see how important data is in Nigeria?
Yeah, so you won't have those you won't have those information when you don't have the resultant laws that guide making those types of laws. So because what happens is people will break law when they know there are no consequences. Yes, even states, even local governments, even the federal government, they will break the law if they know that there are no consequences for breaking it. So the only way to get around that, and as I indicated, here, both employers and employees are required to submit certain data at certain points in a given year. And those data goes into some type of database that are then calculated and used to estimate the population. So what Nigeria needs is to create a law that says that federal allocations will be based on a state actually counting its people, and the state can force the local government to do the same.
Okay, let me take you to something that's very, although you mentioned it a bit, but let's look at it. In Nigeria, the security agency is like, some of them are omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscience. And because if you look at the case of, maybe I will send the report to you too, so you look at it, and one of these days we'll look at that too on the show. A excess of over 11 years ago, he said the boy stole a fowl. I know you know fowl now. That is still chicken. Let me put that chicken and egg. Chicken. And the guy was sentenced to death. It is not that the governor of Osun State is saying, do you know what? I need to have a mercy on that children, giving an instruction to the Osun State Ministry of Justice to do everything possible to see how they can waive it for that boy to be released. The question I want to ask, because you say that we need to equally, who is investigating those who are our investigator? I don't know how they manage to the charge, because today I'm taking upon myself. I want to do everything possible to get the charge sheet of that boy, and equally find a way to know the IPO of that case, and know the DPO of that case, the DPO of the police station that took that guy to court, and equally find a way to know the name of the magistrate. And when we get all those information, we are going to announce by God's grace on this show that okay, these are the wonderful, distinguished, excellent, faithful, and patriotic police officer or judicial officer who delivered that very, very unique judgment. What do you think we can do that Nigeria should be able to investigate those who are our own investigators?
So there are two levels of investigating the investigators. The first one, and I think that one exists in Nigeria today, you are already doing it, right? Which is the existence of a free press. Because once you have the existence of free media, part of the duties of the media is to investigate. Now, I do know there are certain media in Nigeria that don't do any investigative journalism, but Nigeria needs an extensive investigative journalistic reporting. That is lacking. There's just very few media houses in Nigeria that do any type of investigation. And I'm talking about real investigation, not phantom arguments. So that's the one way you expose those who are supposed to be doing some of these things, but they're not doing it. If a child or a young man would steal chicken and or eggs and get more sentence than a federal minister that will steal billions of naira who is still walking around on the street, that is a complete miscarriage of justice. So yes, both the police officers and the members of the judiciary who sentenced that child or that man to jail.
Even the child was even, I forgot, it was even 17 years old when they sentenced him, and Nigeria we are looking at issue of 18 years.
Correct. So that all of those folks need to be exposed and or even prosecuted, because even for a child as a juvenile, in other words, if he's under the age of 20, he's a juvenile. So as a juvenile, the sentencing structure for a child should be completely different. And like I said, if a federal minister will steal billions of naira and is still walking around in Abuja and getting more chieftaincy title, yet somebody who stole chicken is in jail and sentenced to life. That is
death, not even life. Death, by death.
Sentenced to death. Yeah, sentenced to death, which is completely wrong. So the average Nigerian citizens can, go out there and reveal, because there are people who know this information. They just need to reveal it. But there needs to be the existence of a strong investigative journalism. Now, besides the journalistic investigative arm, the government should also have watchdogs, right? Here, not trying to compare Nigeria to the US, but here in the US, every ministry has an inspector general, right? Every ministry. So in other words, inside each of the agencies, there is an office called the Office of Inspector General. Right? OIG. Now that office, they are usually independent of the ministry. You cannot fire you. The head is not answerable to the commissioner or to the head of the ministry. Their duty is to investigate what is going on in the ministry and what the ministry could be doing wrong. So in other words, they look at the mandate, and if the ministry is not keeping up in its mandate, they investigate it, and sometimes they bring prosecution against their own ministry. So that's how you look. So if the police is in charge of prosecuting this boy, and the Justice Department is in charge of carrying out the sentencing, their offices of Inspector General should be looking into it, because that is your last resort. Because they can have access to those documents you are looking for, while you may not be able to get it from the street. They have access to it because they work inside that ministry, and they should be able to say this is wrong and prosecute those who knowingly or unknowingly engaged in this miscarriage of justice.
Now, let me take you back a bit. Recently, after the NBAD government protest, some young Nigeria were arrested. And the day they brought them to court become like a big embarrassment to not only every one of us that is even in Nigeria, even some people like you who are doing very great outside Nigeria. It's as if in Israel, say, Abi, no person, there's no wise one in Israel. We believe that protest is part of, in a democratic system, protest is integrated into all the activities there. But for people who protested, yes, you tried them for treason, I wish it's a very capital offense, until when the president now said, you know what, all these things, I think we have to be becoming an embarrassment to us. So how do you people go about it in US? When you protest, when you charge for protest, or you are charged for but they were treason.
So, so this borders along the national security question you originally started with. So while every individual has a right to protest, individuals must also be very careful not to vandalize and not to destroy, especially if it is government property, right? Or business, right? Because when you destroy somebody's business, you prevent them from now being part of the economic engine of a nation. So in protesting, you have that right, but you do not have the right to destroy or vandalize. So we must isolate those two things. Now, in the case of the young folks that were charged, I'm not sure what their charging offenses were, and I assume that
some of them because the whole Russian flag. Some of them, they arrested them because they said that there was the breakdown of some government or public property. So those are some of the issues that they charge.
Yeah. So vandalizing, which is breaking things or destroying things just as a form of protest, especially something that doesn't belong to you. Yes, that is an offense, but that cannot become an offense that you can say that it is terrorism. Carrying the flag of another nation does not mean I in my house I have both the Nigerian flag and the American flag. Nobody can come and say, oh, by carrying a Nigerian flag, you've now pledged allegiance to one country and have ignored the other country. So I think it is wrong to charge those on the flag side. Sure, you can penalize them, right? There are penalties, there are series of penalties. But again, going back to the young boy with the chicken and the egg conversation, the sentencing, the rule of law, the prosecution has to be balanced. It cannot be extreme on either end, right? So if you're charging children, the charges you give to children are different from the charges you give to adults. If an adult vandalizes a place, the way an adult will vandalize it will be different from the way a child will vandalize, right? So we have to be very careful in how we are apportioning the severity of the justice. So yes, it became a national embarrassment for Nigeria, but it should not have been, because the way those children were prosecuted should have been consistent with international standard. And Nigerians are educated, so it's not like the people ruling Nigeria are not educated, right? So, and the president of the country really should not even be getting involved. These are things that should be handled either at the local or the state level, right? So, because wherever the incident happened, there are governments in that area, whether it be local or state. So I don't see how somebody from Abuja should now get involved into those things, or why the children were even transported to Abuja in the first place.
No, for here, sometimes you can commit offense in Lagos. They will say IGP request for the case to be transferred to them. But let me now, because I mentioned the issue of IGP, remember that we still have Chooks Eleanor with us in the studio. He's talking to her from US, and he's a professional coach, a public speaker, and a community organizer. I will call him a community mobilizer. I don't mind if you will take that organizers through.
They're the same.
Mobilizer.
They're the same.
Yeah. And we are looking at the issue of the responsibility of a sovereign state to the citizen in terms of protecting their life. I know you have been in US for very numbers of years. Something happened this year, and I've been trying to immerse a lot of my friends who are lawyers to see, because I need to be schooled the rationale behind it. Our amiable, wonderful, is a PhD holder, Inspector General of Police. By law, 60 years supposed to don't retire, and by work, 35 years service is supposed to don't retire. But the Senate or the lawmaker decided, for reason best known to them, they amended the law that single-handedly now say, okay, the IGP should spend more, at least not less than 3 years more in the office. But the question is this: the commissioner of police Ogun State, very fantastic, diligent police officer, who is equally subject to the Police Act 2020. Age of 35, he was asked to go according to the Police Act. But the IGP got an extension for him to stay more by the lawmaker. Now the question I want to ask is this: what do you think we can do in Nigeria to emulate, copy properly from US? Because I know when Donald Trump, the other time that between election between him and Joe Biden, he was like he was drawing his leg whether to leave the White House or not to leave. The security apparatus in America automatically, systematically just shifted from him, and before you know what, this guy just says, if I stay here, even one small boy, if he come and slap me, they say I'm stay here illegally. So what do you think we can do for us to be able to insulate politicians and other stakeholders that are like, I want to use the word corrupt before, but trying to think how with professionalism of security in Nigeria?
Well, so it will require a few things. The first and foremost is the law. And yes, you're right. In Nigerian law, 60 years is the age of retirement, or 35 years of pensionable service, whichever comes first, I think. That's how the law is written. But in order to actually carry out that law would now require an informed citizenry, right? The reason why your politicians usually don't take action or don't react is because the average Nigerian politician, both from the local government to the states to the federal, including Aso Rock, actually owe no allegiance to anybody. They often always feel that they got in office by themselves. They didn't get in office because somebody elected them. So here, my local politician cannot do anything, because if they try, they will receive calls from the people who voted for them. And when they know that those people who voted for them will besiege their office demanding action, they then act accordingly. Whereas in Nigeria, you can't do that because the politician owes you nothing. The politician feels that either they bought their way in or they fought their way in, or INEC brought them in through the back door. Therefore, they owe you nothing. So the challenge will be for the Nigerian voters to truly learn how to vote for a politician and how to hold their political officers accountable. Once we learn in Nigeria how to hold our leaders accountable, you will see a tremendous change.
Wow. I want to open the phone line, but let me see, what do you think we can do? Nigeria have a lot of reform, police reform. The more reform, the more the answer remains the same. Because sometimes this should be my own theory, that a situation whereby police always go to the road and be checking, like try and error system of policing. Although we may not find it in any way, I just decide to maybe create that word for myself. What do you think we can do that Nigeria we should be intelligent-driven police system?
That is a very big question, and it is big. It is so big that I don't think any of your politicians want to touch it. And the reason is, for you to get an intelligent police system, and I apologize here, I have a sunlight streaming in from the corner, so pardon my image on your screen. Nigeria needs to return to regionalism. To be honest with you, the way the country is currently structured is not working for everybody in the country. I know you talked about the sit at home at the beginning of your segment. Somebody needs to go and look into the reasons for those sit at home. It has to do with a disenfranchised segment of the population. So for the police to effectively do its work and to be effectively equipped, the police also need to be decentralized. Right now, you have one national police, and once that national police, I'm from Rivers State, right? So in Rivers State, we have a saying that when the fish begins to rot, it rots from the head, right? The fish never rots from the tail. So when you have one national police, if there is any issue within that entity, you're not going to be able to fix all of it. So here in the US, the federal government have their own police. The National Assembly have their own police. The Treasury Department have their own police. The train system, because they do carry money and gold bullions, they have their own police. My local government has its own police. So the point I'm making here is, how many police have I mentioned? So each of those police units, they are smaller, they are more agile, therefore they're fully trained and equipped to do what they're supposed to do.
They have to report to your IGP now.
Nope. We don't. Nope. IGP, if he step on the street, he can get a ticket from the local police. Right. So the point is,
I bet. Sorry, Oga Chus. Can we rewind to that? That if
Yes.
IGP do something that the local police will ticket him.
Yes. In fact, I'll forward you a message that just happened. A police officer was drunk and got arrested by another police officer right here. I'll get you that information. So the point is that the police units here, they have smaller jurisdiction. And that's why I was saying, like, transporting somebody from Lagos to Abuja, because that's where the IGP is. That is you've just violated so many fundamental rights of that particular individual, right? Because the laws of Lagos is not the same laws as in Abuja. I don't know, but I'm just giving you the point here that Abuja may have its own laws, which may be completely different from Lagos. So here, the police units are smaller. And because they are smaller, they are equipped to do certain things, and they do it in certain ways. And they all get the same types of training, by the way. Don't get me wrong, right? They use the same guns. They know how to shoot the same way. But because they have different jurisdiction, like a regular traffic police, what you call a lokpa, your guys on the street, they cannot come into a metro station and arrest people inside a train station. They cannot, right? If I'm in another county, and the police from a different county cannot come and stop me on the road to be asking me for my license, he or she has no jurisdiction in that county. So what is happening in Nigeria is you are not segregating the things the way they are supposed to. So that's why I said it's a big issue, because unless you return to regionalism, then in that case, the units will now be slightly smaller, and then they will become manageable. The size of the Nigerian police is unmanageable at this point, and one person cannot control it all.
That is Mr. Chuck Eleanor talking to us from United States of America. You just hold on, let's listen to a very, very wonderful Nigeria who may like to, in 30 seconds, make a short contribution before we end the show. The number is 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. We have the first call. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I want to contribute on the question.
The volume of your set, please. The volume of your radio.
Okay, let me begin. I want to contribute on the question of flag. Hello?
Go on, sir. Go on, sir. Just the volume of your set is actually a challenge. Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm calling from Germany. Mazi is my name.
Oh, Mazi from Germany. We have our brother from United States talking to us.
Yes, yes, I listened to him very well, and he spoke very well. This is what we are trying to say, because the system in Nigeria is not working. The whole system is not working, and whether you conduct election in 2027 or 2031 is going to be the same result, unless these people come down from their high horses and they renegotiate that country, make it work for everybody. It's not working, it's only working for them. Yesterday, I was so appalled. Our officer in Nigeria, now he lives in America. And he told us here yesterday that Nigerian police, Nigerian DSS only answered, only take decision from the presidency, that the president has the right to say, go and arrest this person, or go or not to go and arrest this person. In a democracy, police judiciary is neutral. They can arrest anybody, they can arrest any president or any senator, but in Nigeria is otherwise. I was shocked and I was ashamed that Nigerian police, Nigerian DSS do only take, order from the president, from the presidency and not from the constitution. Bye-bye from here.
Thank you very much. Ogachos, that's a wonderful brother, Mazi just called up from Germany. And I said that everything you have said, in fact, we need to find a way to actually implement them in Nigeria, that our system, we need to see a way out to copy what, although they say they copy from America, but I'm trying to find out which side. We need to find what happened when they get to is it our water? What happened? Who changed? What did they actually copy?
No, they didn't copy from America. They didn't copy from America. Remember the police thing we were talking about? In fact, we have 1.6 million police officers in the U.S. And those 1.6, out of that 1.6 million, only about 130,000 are federal police. So can you take 1.6 minus 130,000? Do you see how the other police now? So we have a total of 17,000 police agencies, 17,000 different police agencies, right? So, for example, I give you an example. The FBI director lives here in Washington, D.C. But Washington, D.C. as an entity, just like Abuja, has its own police. So if his driver start blowing siren anyhow, he'll get a ticket from the Washington, D.C. police, and he will pay for it. So that's the difference. So it's not a one person. We don't have overlords here. So yes, we do have situations where things do get out of hand and people, doing shootings and all that. But because the agencies that are policing the country are so much segregated, it allows them to be more efficient. For example, the incident that happened to Mr. Faro to me, Dele Faro to me, it would never happen here, where somebody from Ekiti is coming to Lagos to do certain things with that. Lagos law should apply. So, but anyway, I'll wait and listen to your audience's questions.
But you just dash my own now, because I'm trying to come to US next year so that we come and be your IGP. But you just dash on my
Well, we'll give you an IGP now. We have local IGP. That's what we call sheriff.
No, I want the national one. I want the national one.
IGP. No, we don't have a national IGP.
Hello,
yeah, an IGP is the sheriff, right? He's the sheriff in town. So, but we have sheriffs here in each city. Each city have their own sheriff. Each county has its own sheriff.
What
by the way, if you look at if you go and read American history before 1932, America was exactly like Nigeria. It is after 1932 that America decided that if we're going to be a sovereign nation, we must reform, and they reformed. So Nigeria needs to reform. I see they're doing something about the tax bill, but there are other things that they need to reform as well. You don't just reform one area and think it's going to be the solution.
Wow. The number is 0700 903 903 903 for you to talk to our very, very respected, wonderful brother, Chooks Eleanor from United States of America. Is a community mobilizer, organizer, is a professional coach, and is equally a security expert. Talking to Ross. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Oh, we lost that call. Hello, good afternoon. Okay. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nigeria time.
Good afternoon.
Go on, man.
Is that Mr. Joseph?
This is Mr. Joseph. This is Joseph, yes.
Yes, Joseph, please. That man that is in your studio, Jeremiah, that man from the prison.
Yes.
Please, I need his number. I have plenty clothes for him. I don't have his number. Please, I have sent a message several times.
All right. We will send his number to you. To you.
Okay, I sent the message from you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Ogachus, we have someone in the studio. He was in Kirikiri prison, and until the Lagos State governor give him a pardon after 12 years, 7 months, and the reason is just Yes, he committed an offense, but the police charge him for another offense. That will make which is some of those things that we'll be having conversation here. And he's supposed to still be in prison till 2027. But the Lagos State governor look at said, you know what? I think this man need to be allowed to go and meet his loved one, and because of that, he has been making effort. What he saw in our correctional center, which is otherwise known as prison, was a different thing entirely. Is in fact, we need help, as in someone that will talk to our security agency that you shouldn't take pleasure in sending our citizen to prison just anyhow. Why you didn't do a proper investigation? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Daniel.
Daniel, thank you. Okay, yes. Daniel, thank you.
Yes. My contribution is about the flag. You did not present the true position of the flag. They are not. During that time, the people in the area they hosted the flag of a different.
The volume of your set, please. The volume of your set.
Oh my God.
The volume of your set. Hello. I don't think we can do with that. I don't think. And even there's no time against serve. And Ogachus, I think we have to end the show.
Okay.
At this very point.
Well, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure joining you.
Before we let you go, as a community mobilizer, as a community organizer, though 2027 is still very, very far, but what do you think Nigeria should be doing now? Because we need to learn a lesson. We need to see, and we are going to be disturbing you on this. We need to actually challenge Nigeria, stimulate Nigeria to have a behavior modification, actually prepare themselves and make a right decision by God's grace 2027.
So there are three words in my organization, that there are three pillars that we live by, and I'll state them, then I'll answer your question. So the first one is educate. The second one is empower. And the last one is to elect, right? So they go in that order, right? Educate, empower, then elect. The challenge you have in Nigeria is every Tom, Dick, and Harry wakes up and wants to run for office, even though they've never run a legitimate business in their life before. Or even where they've run a legitimate business, they've never run a successful one. Now they want to come. And then you also have those who use their own power of influence to get in office and get appointed. So even though the election is far off, if you take the process we use here, our election was just held on November 5th, which was like 2-3 weeks ago. Do you know that exactly on November 6th, the campaign for 2026 began? Right? Automatically, that's how we operate. We don't wait until the year. We start that election early. So while 2027, I believe, I don't know when your next election is.
It's 2027, yes, the general elections, 2027.
Okay. So while 2027 may appear to be far off to anybody, that campaign should start now. And you begin by educating the people. The electorate needs to be educated. The Nigerian electorate are not educated. And when I say educated, I'm not talking about going to school and getting PhD. I have met so many Nigerians that have PhD, and when they open their mouth, you won't even think they came out of primary school, right? So the issue is not about going to school. Education here is political education. So the average Nigerian voter needs to get educated politically. The Nigerian politicians themselves also need to get educated. I see them here. Your members of NAS were here a few months ago. They were coming to see how America runs its election and how we do things. They saw the process. They were shocked. They were shocked. They saw a state governor. They saw a county. They saw a county government. They saw the state government and how it functions. And they did not see anybody carrying machete, fighting each other, or one political campaign tearing another political campaign apart. Nope. Everything was quiet. Everything was smooth. So we have to find a way to educate our Nigerian politicians about their duty to the citizens, because right now they're not performing that, right? Then number two, once you educate the citizen, you need to mobilize them. You need to empower them. And I know our brothers and sisters like to be empowered through the stomach infrastructure. When we say empowerment, we're not talking about stomach infrastructure. Empowerment means going and showing an average citizen what it takes to run for office, how to hold their leaders accountable, and what they need to do when those leaders run amok, right? So Donald Trump just got elected. He thinks he can do certain things. I want you to keep an eye. You will see how the citizens will fight and resist him. That's our duty. And we learn and we mobilize and we do those things. But when you do all of that, in the end, you still need to learn to elect the right candidates. It is not everybody that raises their hand or go and collect a form that you elect into office. You need to know how to vet them, how to make sure that you're bringing in the people that will actually deliver the dividends of democracy. And what you have in Nigeria, you probably have one or two good eggs, but many of the rest are not. They are just there to collect money. They're just there to, collect more chieftaincy title, and that's all they're there. They're not there to serve the nation. So Educate, empower, elect. 3 E's.
Thank you, and thank you, and thank you very, very much for joining us. And we'll very soon, we'll still reach out to you, especially that community mobilization or community organizing. We just have to see how we can push that narrative here in Nigeria. Thank you very, very much. Let me put the word Chief Chooks. Thank you.
No, I'm not a chief. Just call me Chooks.
Thank you.
Call me Chooks.
Okay, thank you very, very much for
a pleasure to be here, and enjoy the rest of your day.
I regard to the family. They are doing wonderful.
Same here.
Yeah. Okay.
Compliment of the season. All right. See you guys.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you very, very much for that. My name is Joseph Folorunshor, and this is Security, Safety, and the People's Right. Jeremiah, thank you very, very much for being here. I think we sent the number to is that number WhatsApp?
Yes, WhatsApp.
Can we get that this thing? Give us the WhatsApp number. Just
090.
I know hear that one. So
090 34 276818. 090 34 276818.
Yeah, that is Mr. Jeremiah's phone. In case you need to go and follow him to go and see those people in India. I think people are allowed to follow you now.
Yes.
See,
this Saturday.
Sometimes you need to see those so that it will help you to leave what they call crime completely. So sometimes you visit some of the correctional center. When you come back home or you get back to your house, you go think and now know that crime doesn't pay anybody. We'll be back here by the special grace of God. Chidera, the next Wednesday is Christmas. Mr. When people are in their house chopping chicken, chopping fowl, chicken and the rest of that. Okay, no problem. We're back here. Please, you can listen to the conversation on VOP. Check VOP or Voice of the People YouTube 90.3. And if you have any question to ask me, I hardly say this, but just check X, Folorunshor Juice 17. Folorunshor Juice 17. I think Joseph 17. Thank you very, very much. If you have any security topic you feel we can look at, just send it to them. Then we'll look at it. Then we'll investigate and see how Nigeria must move forward. Bye bye, and have a wonderful